Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, it's afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Fantastic news, Celtic have confirmed to the stock exchange that Martin O'Neill is the manager of Celtic Football Club. I will jump on to the official statement through the stock exchange and then the statement through O'Neill, the club's social media. It's an interesting one with we'll go to the stock exchange one first before we go to the social media one. Going to this one. Celtic can confirm that Martin O'Neill has been appointed as permanent manager of Celtic following his successful period of interim management and his achievement of winning the league and the Scottish Cup double last month. The board of Celtic is looking forward to working with Martin and his team as we seek to deliver more success. Inquiries to Chris Mackay, the Chief Financial Officer, in accordance with so that's it. It is official. That was done at 12 o'clock. When we go on to their social media, Celtic just put, there's what they put there. Celtic Football Club delighted to announce the appointment of Martin O'Neill as football manager on a 1-year contract with a 1-year option. No mention in any of the official documentation about the backroom staff. Now, there are rumours flying about last night that Sean Maloney and Fozzie had been asked to take a massive wage cut at Celtic. There was also rumours flying about also the fact that Gavin Strachan is going to be leaving the club. So we'll have to wait and see until Celtic clarify that. As it stands just now, Celtic have not clarified who the backroom staff is. All it said is the board is looking forward. Shouldn't it be are? The board of Celtic are looking forward. The board of Celtic is looking forward to working with Martin and his team and seek to deliver more success. No comment when it comes to the backroom staff and whom the backroom staff may be. So at least we do have a manager, Martin O'Neill, going into all the Celtic events this weekend. He can relax because he is now officially manager. So that's it. We know. It's only taken them just under a week. Just took them just under a week. Pull their finger out the window. David even said it there. It's fantastic stuff, isn't it? Let me jump into the comments and get some immediate reaction from the fans this afternoon. Everyone can breathe. Can they breathe though? Because it's been suggested that Martin O'Neill was asked to take a 35% wage cut, and that's why we don't have the backroom staff, because they were asked to take a 50% wage cut. So we'll see if that is true in the next couple of hours. If not, Celtic, Martin O'Neill will get asked tomorrow night, who's your backroom staff, mate? Everyone can breathe at Celtic. No mention of the backroom staff. You can already see the meltdown from other fans thinking he wasn't coming. We can breathe. Danny Rowe looks like he is away as well. That's just, who cares about him? And need to wait for the backroom staff now after their 50% pay cuts. All glorious for St. Martin. Finally, thank God. Panicked about the stories going around. I think we were all in panic mode this morning. But we'll wait and see what Martin comes out and says. He was always coming. Just need to sort out a few things. Like we said, Sky Sports said if he isn't, it's crazy that it's taken so long. About time. And they start getting players in. It says the five dictatorist, and about time. Stop grinning now. No, I think that's it. And about time now. Back him. Let the people sing. Afternoon, Basno, the boys and girls. About time. Transfer window opens tomorrow. No, it opens on Monday. Monday the 14th, I believe, or 15th, whatever the date Monday is. It opens on a Monday. Clearly timed to offset the timing of the story about Fozzie and Maloney, if that story is true. And we have lost Sean Maloney and Fozzie due to the tight arseness of the board. Who does Martin O'Neill bring in? Who will he bring in? We can't start. Like, let's just enjoy the moment that Martin is here for at least one more year following his interim season. And I would just go with the official statement once more. Celtic can confirm. This is the Stock Exchange one. We'll always go with the official documentation, although we go through Celtic social media platforms also. Celtic can confirm that Martin O'Neill has been appointed as permanent manager of Celtic. This follows his successful period of interim management and the achievement of winning the league and Scottish Cup double last month. The board of Celtic is looking forward to working with Martin and his team as we seek to deliver more success. What does success look like to Celtic? Is it just Scottish football? Are they happy with the status quo? Are they happy with just getting the players in to win the league? Or does success really look like, let's qualify for the Champions League. Let's get players in that can maybe not get through to the quarters or the semis, but at least hold their own within the group phase of the Champions League. Now, remember, the Champions League's much changed. Celtic were lucky to get to the sort of, I thought we were unlucky that year under Brendan. I thought a couple of results, if they'd went our way, we could have got further up the league. I think if we finish 15 and above, if I'm right, you're automatically qualified to the last 16. Should that be where Celtic are aiming for? Just to try and get that last 16 finish in the group stages of the Champions League. We know that it's going to be highly unlikely and highly impossible for a club of Celtic's size to go to the later stages, but surely getting to the last 16 should be something that Celtic should ultimately be looking at. Give me your thoughts in the comment section, and who do you think that will be the backroom staff for Celtic? The transfer window opens tomorrow. Well, there you go then. It opens tomorrow. What did I know? Clearly of time. So them saying that we assume it will be Fozzie and Maloney. Will it though? Will it? Because we can go back the documentation at Celtic and we can look at the documentation. This is why I'm questioning everything. When you look at... Let me just get it back onto the screen. Now, there's obviously the one today, the 11th of the 6th, 2026. Martin O'Neill appointed permanent manager. When you look back to the interim management appointment, we'll click on that one. And the interim management appointment. Celtic can confirm that Martin O'Neill will be joining Celtic as the interim manager until the end of the season. Martin will be supported by Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham as his assistants, as well as Steve McManus, who will join our existing coaches Gavin Strachan, Stevie Woods, Greg Wallace to oversee first team matters. Now, Celtic told you everything and who was all going to be in the backroom staff then. This one doesn't do that. All this one does is tell us that Martin O'Neill is the manager, which some people will suggest that, maybe the rumours are true about the backroom staff and that they've been asked to take massive pay cuts and they're saying not a chance. Maybe Celtic will get this done and dusted. I'm sure Martin O'Neill will be asked tomorrow evening in Kirkcaldy, who the backroom staff will be. That's for sure. And if he is, you can be sure that we'll get it here first tomorrow evening. What football's on tomorrow evening? Going to have to go live during the event in case we get a phone call, aren't we? No, there's no mention of the backroom staff. Hail, hail for the Dam. Hope everyone is doing well and yourself. Great news absolutely fantastic that you're watching while on holiday in Amsterdam. Cracking city. Finally, we have an announcement. Just get some players in now. Finally got their thumbs out their arses. Useless bunch of twats on the board. Robert is least bit impressed whatsoever, isn't he? I'm going to run through as many comments. Get your instant reaction to Martin O'Neill being announced as the permanent manager on. It doesn't say how long though, does it, in this? That's interesting. You've got the social media one, and the social media, it says that that is interesting. Now, to the stock exchange, Celtic have made no comment on how long. They just said Celtic can confirm that Martin O'Neill has been appointed permanent manager of Celtic. When you look at the social media post, Celtic Football Club is delighted to announce the appointment of Martin O'Neill as football manager on a 1-year contract with a 1-year option. Why wouldn't they tell that to the stock exchange, I wonder? It's an interesting one. But anyway, they have announced it, and he is the manager. That is the main thing. It's all here and here about, isn't it? Let's jump back into the science. Gavin Strachan leaving. Hope someone else has his laptop. Well, that is the big rumour that Gavin Strachan is to leave the club, along with Sean Maloney and Fozzie. Only took them a week. You better pull their fingers out during the window. Let's hope so. There was also a rumour about Robbie Keane to be part of the coaching team, and he will replace Martin next year. I cannot see that happening. Why would Robbie Keane want to come in and he's forced his way as his own man, his independent man. He wanted his backroom staff to include people like Johnny Hayes, Scott Brown, Stephen Glass, who he worked with last season. Would he want to come in and be number 2 to Martin O'Neill? And would the fans take that? Would the fans take Robbie Keane? I doubt it would be, but it's funny if it is. I doubt Martin would take the job if they've messed about him with his backroom staff. Well, he's taken the job. Looks like Danny Rose on his way to RB Salzburg. Oh, who will they get in? Absolutely right. Announced some signings. Baz told you on Monday it would be Friday. Well, it was a day or so. Says to people, stop panicking. God bless Martin O'Neill. He'll come on your words. In green, sack the board. Strachan leaving, board won't update to that. No, they won't. Thanks to Christ for that. Update to Android 17. Strachan's laptops had it. Strachan's laptop still runs on Windows XP, I'm led to believe. Now we need backroom staff sorted. Yes, no backroom staff. Martin O'Neill is expected to do it all himself. Does the announcement seem a bit low-key, or am I being nasty? And no, I wouldn't say that it was low-key. We shall wait and see, because, well, yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, you're maybe right. Because usually Celtic social media would put out, a couple of eyes or something incoming. And they're just playing a montage. Celtic, 11 minutes ago, they put out a montage underneath their main. So yeah. From a marketing point of view, the Celtic social media team are woeful, are really bad. There was no sort of pre-build-up, pre-excitement. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? I hate slating the club, but I mean the social media team putting out a montage. There's obviously been no interview with Martin with the social media team 2 hours ago. World Cup Celts. 2 hours ago, retweeting a podcast. I mean, if they had known this morning that it was done and dusted, and he had agreed, I mean, surely you would get your finger out, and rather than just put out his sound, you would put out something to the social media platforms to get the fans a bit excited, a little bit of a buzz. But it's not the way that Celtic do it, are they? They're very conservative in the way that they run the social media department. Would that be a fair assumption? It's I know guys that used to run raves back in the day that could do better marketing than the Celtic board. That is for sure. But yes, I think that you're maybe right. The announcement does seem a bit low key. I'll give you that one. The board should take a 100% bonus cut. Yeah, they should take more than a bonus cut. That would be the icing on the cake. How long will it take to get the squad now? Well, Martin's got his work cut out for him. That's a swift kick in the nuts. Robbie Keane and Bruni. Could you imagine that if it was the backroom staff? The 16th, the transfer. I put up the other day what time the transfer window's open. Where is it? Transfer window. There's where the transfer window opens. Stop saying it opens tomorrow. It doesn't open tomorrow. This is the official date of the Scottish transfer window. The summer transfer window in Scotland opens on June the 15th and closes on September the 3rd at 5 p.m. That is the official dates of the Scottish transfer window. It also opens on the 5th of January and it shuts on the 4th of February. Now, these dates are not the same as the English dates. So if you're seeing the English transfer window dates, the Scotland transfer window dates are not the exact same. So there we go. That is official. And that means the transfer window opens on Monday, like I said so. There we go. Just correcting people that putting stuff out there. Give Fozzie and Maloney what they want. Yes, definitely. If they're trying to half the backroom staff wages, they're not going to get big in the transfer market. Nothing says you're not appreciated like an offer of a wage cut. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. About time, absolute shit show. Why the wage cuts? Because that's the way that Celtic and Michael Nicholson work, isn't it? They like to listen. People say why the wage cuts. People do not understand how much of an income that Celtic are down from last season. The books didn't look good come the end of the season. Let's be honest. When Michael Nicholson and Co would have been looking at the accounts for the year run until I'm sure it's the end of the season. But they're not going to look good. We're £40 million down from the Champions League from the year before, but we're still paying the high wages that we're paying when we were in the Champions League. We didn't get the money that we had from that. And then there was the Not Another Penny campaign. That will have affected the bottom line of the club. The club, the hierarchy of the club will sit with the staff and go, look, we can't afford to pay you. Martin O'Neill will not be getting £3 million a year like Brendan Rodgers, which I think is a disgrace. An absolute disgrace if he's not getting paid. Especially the money that was offered to Ange Postecoglou. He was offered to be paid the biggest wage that any Celtic manager. Celtic are taking bloody liberties if they have got Martin O'Neill on the cheap and Martin O'Neill's agreed to do it. Now, let's not beat about the bush. If he's getting $1.5 million, $2 million a year, fantastic wages. But the time that the UK government takes its cut off it, you're down. Well, at least $750,000. But I think it's absolutely disgusting that they are not giving after what Martin O'Neill achieved with Celtic last season against the odds. They should just be giving Martin O'Neill the same deal that they offered Ange Postecoglou and the same money that they had on the table when Brendan Rodgers took the job. anything less, and the club are selling our management staff short. And what does it say going forward? But anyway, who on the board would be taking a pay cut? Nobody. Yes, I'm happy to beat Rangers every year. Bruni number 2. Well, I don't know about that because Bruni is still on holiday. Let's check his Insta because he does like putting up daily things on Insta. Is he Rio Hitati? Ben Summers. Oh, nothing from Scott today, which means he could be travelling back to the UK because he is taking part in the BBC. He is working for the BBC in Glasgow during the World Cup. So it could be the case that Scott Brown is maybe travelling back to Scotland today. Hence the reason that he's not done anything on his socials. He does like a wee Facebook story, does Scott Brown. One thing for sure. Right, let's jump back into the comments. In my opinion, the players that we brought in from Germany in January, something telling me Fozzie was involved. Could be. Could be. They're asking Martin O'Neill and Sean and Fozzie to take a wage cut. Don't expect any quality players coming in. Budget buys, loan deals. Lurking methinks. World Cup winner. World Cup winner. I am going to hopefully go with Spain. Obviously, because I want to see the nation go mental. I want to see the whole country go bonkers. But I don't think. I think they'll be there or thereabout. But I would love them to win it. We need Champions League. Yes, we do. Get to the last 16 would be amazing. Yep, give them what they're getting paid last season. They deserve that. Yes. No danger they are spending any real money this summer. The board have agreed to a 50% reduction in their wages. No. Success win all in Scotland, then progress in the Champions League. Success is winning everything in Scotland. For me, I think that we need to be. I would love us to keep on winning trebles and stuff, but people in the media will say, "Oh, it's boring, Celtic winning everything." I think that we need to put in a big effort for Europe. That's where the fans want to see us. The board will have its limitations. The board will say, "Look, just get us into Europe, and it's a bonus." You know, it's a good wee trip for you guys. You know, you get to go and play football, but the cash is a big bonus for the club. We'll wait and see. The board will destroy Martin O'Neill's legacy. How about the board take a 50% pay cut? Never going to happen. Pay cut should be a rise, like the local community committee on this board. We need the Champions League. Last 16 would be amazing. It's almost as if the modern mindset doesn't have patience to wait more than a nanosecond for something to happen. Haven't you seen the way that TikTok works? 5 second YouTube shorts, all these reels content. It's nobody online has an attention span for more than 5 minutes. If we bring in the right players, there's no reason why we can't fight and progress in Europe. Bruni and Hayes, that would be interesting. Johnny Hayes is already at Celtic, remember, in the B team. So if McManus stays with Johnny Hayes in the B team, it's do not assume. That's all fine and well, but if the board are penny pinching with the guys who want to be here, it looks like we're in for another transfer window of possible players going elsewhere. There's definitely. Every penny is a prisoner at Celtic. Every pound out the door goes with an ankle bracelet attached. Fozzie Maloney will still be there. I doubt Martin O'Neill would shit over them like that. It's nothing to do with Martin O'Neill. Nothing to do with Martin O'Neill. He doesn't offer them the wages. That comes straight from Chris Mackay and Michael Nicholson. I live in Holland. People don't look at Celtic the same way as they used to, said Spud. Interesting. Why is that? Is that because we are a shit show when it comes to European football? That we underachieve for a club our size. Spud, I'd like to get your comments on that. Do tell us. People don't look at Celtic as the same as they used to. Short-sighted fuckwittery as usual. Ooh, only top eight. Ooh, I'd love to get top eight, but that says. Not sure Martin O'Neill would be happy to stay with an entire new backroom staff, so maybe another announcement later. Fozzie and Maloney are staying. Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, we can only go on what Celtic have done in the past. We can only go on the documents that are out there in the public domain. You know, we're not making stuff up. The document when Martin O'Neill was announced as manager to the stock exchange did stipulate that Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham were going to be assistants. Don't know. We can only go on that information was released back on the 5th of January. When we look at the appointment today, all it says is Celtic can confirm that Martin O'Neill has been appointed as the manager of Celtic. This follows his successful period of interim management and the achievement of winning the league and the Scottish Cup double last month. The board are looking forward to working with Martin and his team. Who's his team? Why not talk about his team? It leaves more questions. It's a very Celtic thing. It leaves more questions than answers. You know, Martin and his team as we seek to deliver more success, which kind of suggests that it may or may not be Fozzie and Maloney. And if it was going to be them, why not just mention them like you did 6 months ago? We'll wait and see. Progress in Europe and success in the league is what we need. We're not going to the final, but last 16 and possible quarter final is something that we should aim and build on. Exactly, Paul. That would be my ambition for the club. You know, last 16 would be phenomenal. You've got to remember, when you automatically qualify for the last 16 in the Champions League, you get a payment of 9.2 million. So there's the financial, from a board's perspective, if you go out and buy a player at 10 million, for instance, and he's the player that turns it on in the Champions League and gets us to that last 16, that payment would have paid for that player. That one payment that you would get from Europa would pay for the player, which would be phenomenal. But Celtic don't think like that, because they would then sell the player the next summer for 25 million. Anyway, nothing any of us think or say will change a single thing. That's the only guarantee. This is very true. And where do the fans that were protesting, where did they go from here now that Martin O'Neill is manager for the foreseeable future? What does that do with the protests against the board? There's now a lot of questions that sort of, does that just dissipate and disappear? Disappear into the ether, as they say. I bet the board are also taking cuts in their bonuses, 100%. I'm sure of that. Yeah, I suppose they will. Finally, Celtic are slow off the mark again. This should have been done last week. That lot on the board got away with one last season. Show a bit of ambition. They owe Martin big time. Be very disappointed if Martin has allowed them to allow the low ball of his coaches. So Maloney gets told his job upstairs, so you have to cut your wage by half. I think that there has obviously been a lot of no happy faces at Celtic Park this week. Surely Martin O'Neill would not stand for it. Fozzie and Maloney, he spoke very highly of both. But if you're offered to do the same job as you did last season, but the offer on the table is far less, why should it be far less? Shouldn't the assistant manager be paid the exact same as John Kennedy was paid, for instance? Surely they can't be asking for much more than what John Kennedy was on for his numerous years at Celtic. What takes a pay cut for winning the double? Yeah, exactly. Just look at the money squandered or lost by the board, offering pay cuts. Let's start with pay cuts to the two causing the problem. Yeah, this is very true. 1 year with a year option. Yep, we know that. Here's me thinking, backroom staff, I have been asked to take some reduction in wages so the board can add more funds. I doubt that. 1 year with a 1 year option, rolling contract perhaps. Nope. As far as they're saying, it's you live in Amsterdam. Cracking part of the country. What did they say about Celtic and Amsterdam? I wouldn't ask though. You know, yeah, Ajax. Yeah, there's no love lost there. I got a text from a friend saying that Celtic Park sent a video with Gordon Strachan getting an interview. He was in a panic, thinking they offered Gordon the job. Thank God. Gordon Strachan getting interviewed today. Let's get the team sorted. Why are they asked to take a wage cut? They've fulfilled their remit. Can't see Martin O'Neill taking the job without them. You never know. You know, they may say no to the job. Finally, Celtic break their world record in breaking their breaking their sponsored silence. It's still nothing from the hierarchy though, and no video. You remember the way that there was Celtic put out the video of the really awkward cuddle from Michael Nicholson with Wilfred Nancy. I can't see there being that close relationship with Martin O'Neill and Michael Nicholson, to be honest. It looks like it's a bit of a war of the roses. Robbie Keane will never be near Celtic. Great news. Martin O'Neill, ball 4-4-2, physical, direct. Here we go for 6 in a row. Incoming. Will it be a 4-4-2? I hope it's so. Do you really need the 4-4-2 in Scotland? With the players that we have, a 4-4-2 may be beneficial, but Martin O'Neill did like a 3-5-2 in his time. Maybe he will revert to a 4-4-2. Wage cuts for Fozzie and Maloney because potential spending spree in the transfer window. No, but there we go. You'd be daft not to be number 2 for Martin. The experience and wisdom you would get from Martin, plus it would help Robbie in the long term, in my opinion. Robbie Keane will never manage our Celtic because he would, it would, yeah. Why fuck about with Fozzie's wages? They were happy to pay last season. XP, that's Windows 95 that Gavin Strachan's laptop is on. Just read about the wage cuts. Are they true? There seems to be doing the rounds. The board deserve big pay rises for keeping Martin O'Neill. What's fucking Jesus? Oh, thank God you're in Australia, Chris. We all know that Celtic's social media is the biggest pile of shite. Why are we surprised? Can't see Nicholson ever taking a wage cut. Nope. They've done an interview with Martin on the app, looking back at his first tenure. Yeah, that's all that they put out on Twitter as well. They just put out, it wasn't really an interview, was it? So there is no new, hi, I'm Martin, I'm here for next season. There's nothing. It doesn't say that it's a happy shop, does it? It doesn't say that it's all happy in the background. Sky News. Oh, exclusive. Exclusive. Danny Rose on his way out at Celtic of Rangers after getting beat by Celtic. He worked at RB Leipzig before, and he's going to RB Salzburg. More on. Oh, the meltdown. Danny Rowe's doing a runner from a 74-year-old. Danny Rowe has. Oh, the banter years has started, and we're only on the 11th of June. Danny Rowe's doing a runner from a 74-year-old. Oh, you can't make it up. You cannot make it up. Tell the board to inform themselves that they will be having a 50% pay cut. I'm going to jump through the comments. Me saying breaking news is more exciting than Celtic's social media department. Yeah, this is very, very true. And apologies for hanging up on the phone because I was trying to get this ready. The Celtic board shouldn't give a toss about the supporters. We all know that. Yes, it's very true. On the app, it shows him looking at clips of matches on a phone. Well, there you go. I said the 16th 2 weeks ago, so it wasn't far away, says Pablo. 5 days away. So September the 3rd, when we will buy. Yes. Unfortunately. We'll go in. My buzz for next season is starting to get a few beers, then watch the ice hockey. Really? Fast forward to 10 in a row. Let's hope we do it. I bet Michael Nicholson won't take a wage cut. No, he won't. Apologise. I'm going to jump through. If I haven't read your comments, I'm going to jump through to the end of them. Breaking news: McInnes to the Huns. Breaking news: McInnes to the Huns. That wouldn't surprise me. And the meltdown would be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Derek McInnes to go to Rangers, and then they would get beat by Celtic. They put a good announcement video on their TikTok, on Celtic's TikTok. Let's see if I could find it. The TikTok of Celtic Football Club. It's the same one that they put on. Yeah, it's nothing new. Yeah, it's not new. That's the same one that I've got on their Facebook and their Twitter. Right, anyway, that is me done and dusted for today. Finally, we have Martin O'Neill as the permanent manager of Celtic. Celtic put out the statement this morning and give you the exact time that they made the announcement to the stock exchange, because it was 10 minutes after that they put it out on the public domain on social media. It was exactly at 12 o'clock Celtic Park time, exactly 12 o'clock, that they put out the announcement that Martin O'Neill is the manager on a permanent basis. Celtic can confirm that Martin O'Neill has been appointed as permanent manager of Celtic following his successful period of interim management and the achievement of winning the league and the Scottish Cup double last month. Shouldn't there be a comma in there? The board of Celtic is looking forward to working with Martin, with Martin and his team as we seek to deliver more success. Anyway, that is us done and dusted for this afternoon. Brilliant news coming out of Celtic. Let's just get the backroom staff and get some players in as of Monday. Transfer window does open on Monday in Scotland. I know that it opens before elsewhere, but in Scotland the summer transfer window does open on the 15th of June and it closes on the 3rd of September, a couple of days later than the other transfer windows, it has to be said. And then in January we open on the 5th of January until the 4th of February. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are all around the world.